Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Is that how they song
No,
go?
it's not. I just made that up.
Okay.
I just made the happy birthday, but New Year.
Starting out strong. 77 flavors. Let's get it.
This is the podcast where we visit all 77 of Chicago's historic neighborhoods and discuss their heritage and taste the amazing food.
And if you know anything about us, we love two things, food and Chicago. So I can't wait to burn this gas money.
You ready?
Let's get it.
This is the 77 Flavors of Chicago, the podcast.
Welcome back to another dope episode of 77
The
Flavors of
first
Chicago.
episode.
The first one of the year.
Hey.
Hey, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
Enough of that. How you doing?
I'm just, just vibing.
You vibing? You in the zone?
Yeah, we're gonna have a great guest on this episode.
Yeah, we
I'm
are gonna
excited.
have. We're gonna be joined by Mr. Steve Dolinksky himself, the food guy here in Chicago.
Food guy.
I'll still give him the air horn. I'll give him the air horn. Now I'll give it to him when we.
He's not here yet, but when he gets here, he's gonna get it again.
Yeah. But listeners, Happy New Year to you all. We hope that you made it through safely and everything. Y'all didn't drink too much. I'm sure you drink too much, but
I mean, just vibe.
Yeah, it is a vibe, man. It's a vibe.
Yeah.
We got 47 to go.
Yep, 47.
Yeah, 47. This is episode 30.
This is episode 30.
Are you ready to start a brand new year from the start, January to December? Because we started last year.
That is crazy.
Yeah, we started last year, June.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ready?
I mean, we have to. What am I saying? And we gotta.
I'm looking you dead in your eyes, waiting for a different answer. She was gonna say no.
What
She was gonna say no. We're like, okay, well, we're done.
Unrecord.
That's funny. We are here. Actually, we are in Armour Square.
Yep.
Yeah, we're in Armour Square, and right now in Slurp Slurp.
Correct.
Don't suggest you look that up on your phones.
Don't look it up on your phone.
Look it up in Google Maps.
And there's a mixtape by someone. Somebody made a mixtape.
Somebody made a mixtape of Slurp Slurping.
Slurp Slurp. And just, obscene photos.
So look it up in Google, Google Maps or Apple Maps, your GPS. Don't look it up on the regular internet.
Or change the restrictions on your phone where it doesn't show you women.
Slurp Slurping. Stop it.
Well,
she said, well,
anyway,
it's
a family podcast.
Yeah, well,
no, it's not.
No, I put that letter E on there for it don't mean everybody. It means explicit. I was about to say exclusive.
I know.
No, but we here in Chinatown, this part of Armour Square. Correct. And let me tell you some dope history about this place.
The only thing I know about this place is the Chicago Library. The public library that's here is really cool.
Yeah, what's cool about it?
The architecture of it is probably really cool. I think, if I remember correctly, it is like a combo of Chicago architecture and then also Chinese architecture.
Mm-hmm.
So it has a unique vibe than other public libraries around the city. Of course, the one downtown is pretty cool, but this one is pretty unique. That's the only thing I know about Chinatown.
Yeah,
I've driven through it quite a bit of times because it was on my way to work.
Yeah.
But
well, here's a crazy thing. So I knew about Chinatown, and I've been here, but I realized I'd never been here during daylight. You know what I mean? I never been here. Think about that. I've been here at nighttime. Usually by the time I'm
what?
Just chilling. Had some food. Had the shopping areas around here pretty dope. But I never been here during the day and saw Chinatown. Driven by.
Right.
I used to work on Michigan Avenue, so I went through it. But on foot, this kind of blew my mind a little bit. It's really beautiful down here.
It is really beautiful.
Yeah.
We'll post some photos if you've never been, or if you're out of Chicago and you can't come anytime soon. We'll post some pictures so you can take a look.
Because this is one of the dopest Chinatowns in the country.
I think so. The only other one is I know the Chinatown in New York. Did you know that has the largest population of Chinese people outside of China is in
Really?
New York?
I could imagine that. I mean,
obviously.
Yeah, I could. What is that?
They together.
Yeah. They together. What does that mean?
A together population, they're not segregated
themselves. They're not split. They a team. right? I mean, that's what you're trying to say. Yeah. They connected. Well, I got the story of
like they live in one place.
Yes. You didn't want to say contained. Like that sounds bad. I know that's what you was. Anyway, first one of the year. Here we go. But I do have some perspective on that though, because it is actually kind of cool. It's a really cool story about how our Chinatown.
I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah. So let's get to it. You ready to start the first one out of the year? Hey, let's go. Yeah, let's get tuned, y'all. Boy,
should I sing everyone?
Yeah, I was about to say. So, are you the singer this year? Is that what's going on?
Maybe. Are we reversing roles?
I think we might. Wait, role play. Oh.
Do you know that TikTok sound that says, "Am I the drama?" I can't be the drama.
You the singer this time.
Maybe.
Let's go.
I don't know. We'll see.
Y'all, let's get it cracking, y'all. Y'all know what time it is. We about to teach you about the area. We are in Armour Square. It is community area number 34. And here are the boundaries. To the north, we got 18th Street. To the south, we got Pershing Road. To the west, Union Pacific Railroads. To the east, the Dan Ryan. You were going to say something? I thought you were going to say something. Okay. No. And so the history of this place actually really cool. If you visualize it, if you are not from Chicago, or even if you are from Chicago, you don't know, just think about a little sliver of area. Okay, and that's what Armour Square is. And it used to be bigger.
A sliver or a slither?
No, sliver.
Oh. Not
yeah. You slither. See, I got a gap in my tooth, so you might have threw you off.
That's not what I said. You know what I mean? That is not what I said.
That might have threw you off, huh? She said, "Did this man say slither?" No, I thought
you said sliver. You said slither.
I did wear my retainer for Invisalign, so my shit opened up back like the C's. Anyway.
Wow. Tell us more.
Moses was like, "Yo, brother, your teeth supposed to be." Let me stop. This ain't about me.
Prophet?
He came down.
You think Moses parted your teeth?
He had a toothbrush and was like, joke. Boom.
Wow.
Just like gap.
Moses took
Stop
a
it.
toothbrush.
Come on, let's move on. It's not about me.
Banged it on the ground and parted your teeth in half.
Anyway.
That's actually a good
premise.
That's a good visual. I think you should make it and then we should sell it as an NFT. It's just Moses with a toothbrush parting somebody's teeth. I'm just saying.
We bring gap teeth awareness on this. GTA. Anyway.
Grand Theft Auto awareness.
We cannot be acting like this in public. This is the first time
in public, and this place is packed.
I know. Act right, okay?
Yeah, you didn't tell them we were on location.
Okay. I'm trying to turn over a new leaf here in 2022, okay? Anyway, we on location at...
Steve, I'm sorry, this is the episode you're on.
Yeah, it's too late. It's too late. All right, so here's the thing. So Armour Square, how did Armour Square come about, right? So Armour Square is close to the city. It's very close to the Loop. Yep. We're talking a couple blocks from the Loop,
correct.
Right? So when the Chicago fire happened in 1871,
correct. You should have let me say it.
I should have let you say it. We can rewind. In 1871.
71.
When the
Chicago fire happened.
There you go. Back to real life. Chicago fire happened, but this place wasn't affected, okay? And by effect, was not affected by the Chicago fire. And what I mean by affected, nothing burned down necessarily, right? But what did happen, how it is affected, is because the city made the laws and said, hey, everything's got to be built of stone or brick, right? This was the brick area, part of town. Brick area is what Chicago was known as, parts of it. Hey, look, this is where brick's coming from. And they start rebuilding the city, things start being too expensive because, every
stone is more expensive than wood.
So a lot of the folks got pushed out, right? They got pushed out of the Loop. And they were forced to be down in this area known as Armour Square. That's how they were affected. And then in addition to the city just growing, it's wedged, like I said, in between an expressway and elevated rail tracks because the city had to grow. And when that happened, it shaved off the east and the west sides of this community area. Mm-hmm. Now it's left with a little sliver.
Yeah,
slither.
Anyway. I think anytime it's just you and me, people really get an insight,
of how goofy we really
dive look into what we are in real life.
Somebody probably listens to this and is like, yo, this is how I'm starting my 2022 off. with these
You're
two.
welcome.
Yeah, hey, look, whatever. It is what it is. We appreciate you, by the way.
What can I say except you're welcome?
You just love singing. What is going on?
That's a song from Moana. It's like one of my favorite songs.
I mean, well, I can't remember. I only know the Rockets in there. It's my boy.
He sang that song.
Oh, it was his song.
Bruh.
I did not pay attention.
All right, well, I can't sing anymore because now we got to pay for it.
Turns out I don't read, and I
It's a
don't pay
movie.
attention that well.
Oh. And
I had the script, mind you, okay? And I saw pictures on the screen, and I was reading like that. What if that was the case?
Wow.
Tangents. We haven't done those in a long time. Here's some fun fact for the folks that are all my White Sox fans. Shout out to all my White Sox fans. Hey.
That was so loud.
Well, whatever, man. Look, this is the first one of the year. Haven't gotten it. Haven't figured out the button. I'm heavy-handed. Kaminsky Park is in Armour Square, and it was built in 1999 by Charles Kaminsky.
Is it really?
Yes, it's actually the old Kaminsky Park was the oldest
Is
ballpark.
that the White Sox one?
I just said.
Oh.
I just say, wow.
It feels like it's souther than here.
More southern.
Southerner.
Yeah. Well,
Southerner from here.
This expands pretty far. Okay, this goes pretty far. But it's a sliver. Keep in mind,
It's a long.
It's a long sliver.
It's not wide, but it's long. You know.
That's what she said.
Anyway, So the Kaminsky Park, original Kaminsky Park, was here, and not only was the old Kaminsky Park here, but it was the oldest ballpark in the major leagues. Not only that, it is the now even guarantee rate field. It is
What a
the
stupid name.
Yeah, well, I mean, what if they
I'm
want to
sorry.
sponsor us?
Well, that's fine. We'll take it.
You could have just gave us Kaminsky Park. You know, you don't have to change all the damn names all the time.
Well,
we still call it
they
Kaminsky.
own
It don't even matter.
So it's different.
Right. I mean, you put your little arrow wherever you want to put. Anyway, that's not the point. Then
Put your little arrow.
both parks. The White Sox have played in the neighborhood longest out of any other sports team, baseball team in baseball. So think about that. Ever. You know, so like think about it.
How long has it been?
Wrigley, as well, since 1909.
Oh.
And before that, because they had a team before that, a field before that, and I'll get to it. But we talk about the Cubs, and I'm a diehard Cubs fan, right?
Yes.
And we love how they're built into a neighborhood, right?
Correct.
They weren't in the neighborhood the longest. It's the White Sox.
That is so dope.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, something else that you might not even know in White Sox fans, and this is something that doesn't get talked about enough in Chicago, especially Chicago sports. Microcosm of the times, but before then, there was a team, a Negro Leagues team. The National Negro League was actually formed here in Chicago,
right.
And we had a team called the American Giants. And the American Giants played when the Kaminsky moved the Sox to the new park. The American Giants played in the old Sox park.
For those that are not very versed in the sports world like me that don't know what that is, what is that?
What do you
that
mean?
League?
It's a Negro League. It's the Negro League. We're blacks because it was segregated.
Oh, okay.
You know, so I'm sure people knew what the Negro League was. Okay.
I didn't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was where the blacks played. Okay.
Okay, because you had like
Yeah.
a white team.
Yeah, when whites couldn't, baseball wasn't integrated into the 50s. I'll get to that.
That's crazy.
Yes, I'll get to that.
50s?
It's absolutely insane. Matter of fact, shout out to Minnie Minoso, who was just recently inducted into the Hall of Fame. That took way too long. He was actually the first black player on the White Sox. So, but aside from that, the Negro League. Let's talk about them for a second. The American Giants. They were a fantastic team. Okay, they were like in their time they rivaled the Cubs and the Sox. Matter of fact, they sold out more. They were more hot than the Sox and the Cubs at that time. Absolutely, there would be some days where they would sell out more than the Cubs and more than the Sox. I mean, the Cubs actually won the World Series in 1908.
Oh,
so
wow.
let's not do this.
You're pretending like it's super personal.
I mean, y'all know how I love my Cubs. Anyway, let me just tell you how dominant they were. So in the 20s, 1920, the Negro National League was formed. But the Giants, the American Giants, won the championship in 1920, 21, 22, 26, and 27. You talk about domination.
That's crazy.
1952, when the National League, when baseball started to integrate, That's when they were disbanded. They played for 42 seasons, and that's when the team was disbanded. We talking about 1952.
That's insane.
That is insane. That is not that far ago. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people don't understand how dope that is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like how dope that really is. That I don't want to say dope, but like we talk about integration and segregation, but that was yesteryear. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah. If you think that is recent, I mean, it's not recent. Like it's we hear that narrative a lot of like that was so long ago. Like just move on, or that's a lot of like the narrative that some people take. Mm-hmm. It's not that long ago.
No, it's not long ago at all. It's not long ago.
Your grandparents were probably like just about to be adults.
Yeah, right. We talking Negro League.
I mean, my grandfather was born in 1930.
Yeah, my grandma I think was like 28.
Yeah.
1928.
So you know what I mean? Like your grandparents were full adults.
Yeah.
And they still went through segregation.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we took Gage.
Not that long ago.
Was the Gage Park High School wasn't even integrated until 72.
Yeah.
So, but that's something that in Chicago sports we don't talk about enough. We don't talk about that kind of stuff enough because that was a dominant team. And you all know I'm not a big White Sox fan. I'm not a White Sox hater, but they were dominant over the Cubs and the Sox. Yeah. And all-black team to the point where the guy who started the Negro National League left. He was a player manager, he managed the team and played for him. He left his squad to come be on the Chicago American Giants because they were that good.
Wow.
That just says something. Matter of fact, fun fact, I put a picture out there. I had it, but it's in the car. I forgot to get it, and I didn't want to walk back. But I actually have a hat of the Chicago American Giants that is still in the box that I bought it from. And it's about 7 years old now, and I've only taken pictures in it once.
Yeah.
I don't even wear it out the house. Matter of fact, it's in the car. It didn't even make it inside of here, but I'll post pictures of it so you all can see me wearing the American Giants hat. So a little fun fact for Chicago, for you sports fans out there. Now, something I want to talk about. We are here in Chinatown, right?
Yep.
And in Chinatown, let me tell you something. This is a beautiful place.
Yeah.
First of all, it's got a dope history, and it's absolutely gorgeous here. It
really is.
If you walk down this strip here, the architecture is just fantastic.
It really is. Like it's one of those neighborhoods where you feel like you're removed from the city, which is just so cool.
You really
experience an entire. There's a TikToker that I like that does like traveling to these countries without leaving Chicago, and this is like I've never been to East Asia, so I don't know what that experience is like, but being able to experience, even if it's like a little part of it while being in the city, is such a special experience. And it's so like we're so lucky that we have an area like Chinatown there you can come to, and there's many
versions of Chinatown.
Well, no, I was gonna say there's many community areas and many neighborhoods where you can experience different cultures within the city, but this is just one of them. This is one that is really great.
It's fantastic. Yeah. Let's talk about it because over a third of Chicago's Chinese population lives in Chinatown.
That's huge.
It's a lot. There's a lot of people of that demographic here in this area.
Yeah.
They first arrived to Chicago in 1869, and the reason why they came here was because the first transcontinental railroad was completed, and 90% of the workforce that worked on the Transcontinental Railroad were Chinese. Now, here's why they came over. That started on the West Coast and was coming down to the Midwest and over to the East. Now, the problem is discrimination, right? We hear this story, right? It exists, right? And they were really, really discriminatory.
Discriminated against.
Yeah. I'm talking about the West Coast. West Coast was discriminatory towards Chinese folks. And what they would do, just certain things like this. You think about like the 1800s, right? The early to mid 1800s, right? They would do stuff like this. Once the railroad was done, laundromat, just if you had to get your clothes done, right? And you were traveling by horse and buggy or whatever, they put a tax on if you use that kind of transportation to do that, to the point where it was so expensive to kind of use that service anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what,
That's
the Chinese
crazy.
were doing. They were living their life
Wow.
like that. And when you do things like that, we got to go. It's time to leave. Now let's leave. Let's leave and let's go somewhere, right? So they did. They landed here in Chicago. The cool thing is, at first, Chicago was like, hell yeah, come on in. We welcome everybody, which is really dope because that is the Chicago. That's what we are. That's what we do. And we did. And right before, right after the Chicago fire, so to say, a lot of folks start coming over here, the Chinese population, to the point where they were so welcomed. They were so welcomed in the Chinese population by Chicago that they start telling everybody, hey, we found a home here, here in Chicago. So let's
That's so great.
Yeah, let's mark our territory, right? Right around the World's Fair, the first World's Fair, what happened was things started to change just a tad bit, okay? Because the World's Fair was a big time for us. Then especially in '93, that was we're on 1893. We were on display. Things changed. Chicago was a little bit more discriminatory towards the Asian population, Chinese population, than we needed to be. And same thing happened. You raise rents, you raise prices and things like that.
And you push people out.
You push people out. And that's what happened because they were in the South Loop. And then they moved even further south to where we are now. But before then, you had businesses. You had people, like, they literally nominated the guy, Moy was his name, who was kind of like the ambassador, so to say, for the Chinese American folks that were here now, and he spoke for them. So he was like their mayor, quote unquote.
Oh, yeah.
He made him the mayor. They made him the mayor, and he spoke for everything down here, right? So when you think about, he brought all these people here saying this is great, and then all of a sudden now you got to be pushed back. You couldn't afford rent. You couldn't afford anything. Now you say, hey, look, we're going to build here. So they built tons of restaurants, and they literally, restaurants, businesses, banks, they made their life here and said, we're not going anywhere else. And we're not moving anywhere else. And if you come down through here, I mean, you can see that this place is literally like Chinatown. And it is no doubt about it. And so that's a product of them saying, hey, look, we're not moving no more. This is our home now. And this is one of the most sprawling areas in Chicago. This is the new Chinatown. So this is the second version of Chinatown.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's all you got to say? I did all that talking. That's dope, y'all.
Yeah, that's
cool.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, man.
No, I mean, that's very interesting. It's all new information to me, so yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that when you come to Chinatown, you think I'm in Chinatown. This is the second version of Chinatown. This is not even the first version. And if you look down here, we talk about the architecture. The architecture is just fantastic, and that's intentional. Right. They wanted to be their own way. And everywhere you go down here, they got things in the window that are in Chinese first, in English second, and in literally everything.
Because it's their community.
Yeah, it's their community. Yeah. But the reason why I point that out is because you don't see that a whole bunch. You know what I mean? Like, we see that. But like, this is like almost like a time warp. You go in, you hear, and it's like you're in China. Right, right. I don't want to say that. Like, I don't mean no disrespect by that, but like, it feels like, like I'm in that land without even never been there. You know what I'm saying? Like, more than any other neighborhood. Yeah,
as much as you can be outside of it.
Yes. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah,
for sure. I think it's also unique because they do have their unique style of architecture, so they're able to do that. I think, in my opinion, in my very limited knowledge of Chicago demographics, I think the area where I think is the most Arab, in my opinion, is Bridgeview, which is obviously not Chicago, but there is no significant architecture that you come into it and you're like, oh, this looks Arab as hell, because our architecture is a lot of stone, a lot of but all the signs are in Arabic, so you people are speaking in Arabic anywhere you go, so that's how it feels like, quote unquote, home. Like, it's a lot of Arabs there. But I mean, same thing with primarily Latinx neighborhoods or Hispanic neighborhoods or Mexican neighborhoods, however you refer to them. That's how you know it. They don't have a distinct architecture, but they have the language, the music, the food, which is really what makes up a lot of the culture.
A lot of culture.
Food, music, history, language, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So here they also have the added factor of architecture.
Yeah.
So it's very distinct.
Yeah,
you know it when you're here.
Kind of like when we were in Humboldt Park, and they have the Paseo de Boricua.
Yeah.
They have the two flags,
Correct.
Puerto Rican flags there. There's a huge, I don't even know what this is called, but
Arch.
Arch. Yeah, it's a Chinese architecture. Structure that is just, it's front and center right when you walk
into.
into
the dragon?
Yes,
Is that what you're referring to?
it's actually really cool. Well, the pictures up. You can take a look at the pictures,
Yep.
but it's fantastic here, and I really. From me being the first time during the daylight, this is fantastic.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
it really
it just feels good. You know, it feels.
For sure.
You know what's crazy? And this is another. I'm gonna shoot my shot at New York again, man. Look, it's a lot cleaner because New York's Chinatown.
1,000%.
New York's Chinatown is a mess.
Yeah, y'all need to get some alleys.
Yeah,
or
come on,
something.
do something. Get better, like garbage disposal or something. Because like y'all, what
Reevaluate
time
your
do y'all
garbage
pick up garbage?
At night.
They do. They never.
But also not every day.
Yeah. Anyway, our Chinatown is much better.
Everything is better.
Everything is better. It's cleaner.
Chicago, like 1,000. New York, maybe 1. There you go.
Yeah. You ready to talk to our guest?
I am. Let's take a little quick break.
Yeah,
and come back with the Steve Dolinksky.
Steve Dolinksky. Y'all, we'll be right back.
We are back with the food portion, and for the food portion, we are joined by the most food person.
The most.
The foodiest.
The foodiest.
If you may. Steve Dolinksky.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, guys.
How's it going?
I get sound effects.
Yes, you
Yes,
do.
yes,
Yes,
you
you
do.
do.
Such a VIP podcast. I love it.
It really is.
I love it.
We just want you to feel special.
I do feel special. I'm impressed with the setup here, guys. If you guys could see this, the video here, it's amazing. They got the mixer, they got the cameras.
Yeah.
You guys don't
we
mess
try.
around.
We try, you know.
Right.
It was an attempt to make another podcast better, and we accidentally made this one good.
That's great.
By accident.
By accident. I mean, we got Steve Dolinksky. Let the people. Let me tell you something. Like this right here. So a couple of podcasts ago, I said I've never felt cooler. We were at C2E2. Okay, I feel cooler now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel really cool. I'm sitting here with somebody I watched on TV.
Yeah.
For years, you know what I'm saying? And he's on my podcast right now.
I know.
It's
kind of
unreal.
insane.
Steve Dolinksky, man, thank you for doing this.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for asking.
Oh, of course.
Of course. So a lot of people might have known your previous projects, but tell us about some new things that you're working on.
Yeah.
Got a lot of stuff going on, guys.
Talk about it. We got time.
There's a new pizza book called The Ultimate Chicago Pizza Guide.
Yeah.
That came out in October,
Yep.
and I've been pushing that pretty hard. I guess they've sold out of the first
Yeah, you
printing.
pushed it hard enough that it sold out.
It's
Yeah.
sold out.
Yeah.
The next printing. Yep. All right. I love the sound effects. God, I love this podcast. So that's been going pretty well, and I'm running around the country trying to promote it. Like I was in Portland, Oregon. I've got a friend
Wow.
from Chicago who's got a tavern-style thin pizza pop-up every Saturday. I went out there on a whim just to see some friends.
Yep.
I sold 40 books at one of
40
these events.
books?
Yeah,
That's
I brought a bunch
amazing.
of books with me.
Holy cow.
And then I went to Seattle and saw a friend from Chicago who's got a Chicago-style pizza place called Windy City Pie.
Hey.
And did the same thing, sold a bunch of books. And
Wow.
so there's interest in Chicago pizza beyond our borders, which
Yeah.
is pretty
For
cool
sure.
to see. And then I'm really working on this Chicago Pizza Festival. We've never had a pizza festival like this in Chicago.
And
It's
that
so
to me,
crazy.
That is unbelievable to
I know.
even hear.
It's,
you know?
it's one of those things. It's like, how did somebody not think of that first?
Yeah, you know,
right?
like, come on. As much as we talk our shit about how great we are at pizza, you would think
Somebody was
that
like,
somebody
let's show
said,
them.
let's have a festival for it. We have a festival, like you said, for everything.
We do. We got ribs. We've got hot dogs.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Chicken
have,
wings.
We're gonna have pizza now. It's July 23rd, 24th. It's going to be over in the West Loop in a big parking lot. I've got 20 pizzerias on Saturday and a different 20 on Sunday.
Holy
that's so
cow.
So 40 pizzerias, all from the city of Chicago, one visitor from out of town, and then we've got a bunch of seminars we're going to have inside on dough and making great pizza at home and kind of stuff for the home cook.
Look, let me tell you, send me the link personally
I will.
so I can be there because I'm there.
You guys are going to be the VIPs.
Let's get it. Hold on.
All right, well, thank you so much for being here. That's really all we wanted.
That's exciting because I was telling you guys while we were eating, people think of Chicago pizza in kind of really simple terms. Oh, it's stuffed pizza, it's deep dish, or it's tavern style thin.
Yeah.
And since the pandemic, and this is why I wrote the second book, was there's all these different styles now. There's It's Detroit, Sicilian, Neapolitan, artisan. So I really want to highlight that and kind of raise the flag, especially to the people in New York who write about food, for national publications.
Yeah.
So we're going to get some of those writers to come to Chicago for at least a day.
My goodness, that's going to be...
And just see what we're up to here.
Yeah.
That's what's important. So I've always kind of wanted to just raise the flag for Chicago a little bit more. I feel like we get respect, but not as much as we really deserve.
We deserve.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool to have, especially a place like New York come in and understand us.
Yeah,
you know what I
we
mean?
have better pizza.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with New York is that a lot of people who say they lived in Chicago or maybe they studied in Chicago, went to college here for a little while, they spent maybe a year or two here, or they grew up in the suburbs. Like Vince Vaughn is from Lake Forest, but he says he's a Chicagoan. And then they have these memories of Chicago, which were like, I went to Lou Malnati's or I went to Giordano's, and that's it.
Yeah.
Or they came for a weekend and they spent all the time around Michigan Avenue. They didn't go to the neighborhoods at all.
Right.
And this is where that gets my goat is like, you got to experience the neighborhoods. And so here I am on this neighborhood podcast, which is so important because we want to talk about other areas of the city.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, there's a plug if you ever needed one.
All these sound bites are perfect.
Yeah, these. I mean, but you're right though. I mean, you have a lot of people. Even when we're learning about these different neighborhoods and communities, and we're in Chinatown, which is part of Armour Square, and even learning about it from us. We're like, holy shit, Chicago is even cooler than we even know. You know what I mean?
So much cooler, especially south.
Yes.
Right.
And this is what gets me. Like, the media spent all the time on the north side.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, not everybody.
Yeah.
But the south side, I mean, not just the Union Stockyards, but Prairie Avenue and everything that was the Palmer House and everything that was happening on the south side was so fascinating, I think.
Right.
And then the fire and then everything, I don't know, when they rebuilt it, everything changed a little bit. But the media has always spent, I think, a little bit too much time on the north side. And so you talk about Armour Square, you talk about Chinatown, which has really gone through this beautiful explosion, I think, and a lot of development. You walk down Wentworth Avenue now, and there's a lot of new storefronts, which I didn't see. When I moved to Chicago in 93, there wasn't anything near this. It was a lot of sort of chop suey, egg foo young stuff.
Right.
It's gotten to be a lot more regional, like where we are right now at Slurp Slurp.
Yeah.
It's much more sort of northern Chinese, Beijing style.
Yeah.
The pictures of them shaving the noodles or hand-pulling noodles here. I love to see that in sort of a specific regional style. Rick Bayless made Mexican food famous by focusing on the regions of Mexico and saying, like, there's more than just, I don't know, Tex-Mex,
right?
And so I think in Chinatown you've got to get, there's Szechuan and there's Hunan and there's Cantonese and there's dim sum and there's lots of different regions and styles to focus on rather than just saying a blanket Chinese food.
Yes. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, before we move on from the pizza, what is your favorite pizza place or the place that you frequent the most?
Yeah, I was wrestling with this earlier. It's like, who's your favorite kid?
Yeah.
My answer to that is usually it depends what style I'm interested in that week. So, like, if I was interested in deep dish, I like My Pie because it's an old school, 50-year-old recipe.
Yep.
But I also like La Briola because it's more new school, deep pan.
Okay.
I like George's up in Edgewater, too, for sort of new school, deep pan pizza. But then when you say, like, where do you go the most? Probably Robert's. Robert's Pizza and Dough Company. It's in Streeterville. He just has this wonderful dough. It's a 3-day ferment. It's got lots of water in the dough, lots of hydration. It's got a sourdough starter. It's more interesting, I think, crust-wise than most pizza places. So Robert's is usually my answer.
Man,
that's pretty good.
Well, we got to go there.
Yeah,
now. We got to go because the fermented. You had me at the fermented dough.
At the fermented dough. That's what did it for you.
Doug is known for his fermented dough preferences.
Yes.
Fermentation means flavor.
Yes, exactly.
Kimchi, sauerkraut, anything you ate.
We had we work with our partners over there, our friends over at Savory, and we had Chef May, and she made us some kimchi
pancakes
inside the house, kimchi pancakes, and so we did a little documentary of going to Junbu and shopping, and we saw that they ferment, and we learned about ferment. Me at least learned about how long they ferment things. And
it's kind of crazy.
It was absolutely insane. We're talking months, sometimes years, right?
Yeah.
Years. I'm not a food.
Months,
I'm not the food guy. But so for me, that blew my mind. I'm like, you put some shit in the refrigerator and let it sit for a little while. Like that's what I thought. But like hearing that and then tasting it, it tastes way different. You know what I mean?
It's almost like, think of wine.
Yes.
It's about fine wine has been laying down and aging, right?
Yes.
Time for the tannins to sort of get softer.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with fermentation. It gives, sort of the activity is happening, and it's like a living thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of the food guy.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
I get so excited about stuff like that. Right?
yeah. No, we like it. We love it.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about the new show that you've been doing since August.
Oh, the Food
right?
Guy.
Yeah.
Which we shot the promo actually right out on Wentworth Avenue here. So I've been at NBC since August.
Mm-hmm.
It's every Thursday at 10 o'clock. And they give me free reign to do whatever I want to do. And it's essentially, it's whatever I'm excited about at that time of the year. It's pretty simple. It's like if I want to do a new restaurant that opened up that I think is interesting, or if I want to go to a strip mall near Midway Airport that's doing great Mexican.
Wow.
It's kind of whatever. I'm really cognizant of balance, though. I don't want to do all sort of the same thing in the same neighborhood all the time.
Right.
So like you guys, you're always running around the city,
Always,
right?
yeah.
And I got to do the suburbs, too. So
Yeah.
I've got more than 77 on my plate.
Yeah, you got a whole
I'm
half
looking
of
at
it.
like Downers Grove and Palatine, and because that's our viewing audience,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm really thinking about the region as a whole.
Yeah.
But I try to do 1 week as a suburb, 1 week's in the city, 1 week is
awesome.
high end, 1 week is down and dirty, beef sandwich, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's, as you know, Chicago is this just vast landscape.
Yeah.
And so it's, so I've been doing it since August, and I love it. I love it over there. I mean, no disrespect to ABC. They were great. It's a great place for 17 years.
Right.
Yeah.
But when I left, I thought I was done with local television, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And they called me in the summer, and they were like, "Do you want to come back?" And we got a new regime here.
Been there.
And we believe in food coverage, and I was just honored to get that opportunity.
Man, it's so good to have you back on TV. You know what I mean? Like somebody like you that, you look up to. You remember Mr. Food?
Of course.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I know you do. But like I think of those kind of names when I talk to somebody like you. You know what I mean? I talked to Teddy Brunson, who did Chicago's Best. And you, for me, those are the names. I'm a 90s kid. I lived in Chicago. You know what I mean? I grew up watching TV after school. My grandmama would come home. She already got the TV on. So to see you back on TV is really cool to kind of have that. I don't want to say nostalgia because it's for a new era and it's a new time, but it's really cool for somebody like me. It is nostalgic,
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I always feel like if I can touch somebody and say, wherever they grew up, city, suburbs, south side, north side, if I could say, I did stories in that neighborhood and that someone that reacts to that and responds to that, then I've kind of done my job because I don't want to just focus on one area.
Yeah. I mean, it's fantastic.
It's good to be here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So now I guess we could start talking about where we are.
Yes.
You picked Slurp Slurp.
Yes.
Noodles, right? First of all, why do you know why? I know we picked the community area, but you picked the restaurant.
Well, when you're talking about Armour Square, and I'm thinking, I'm looking at the map and I see Chinatown just sort of shouting at me right there in the middle of it.
Yep.
I'm like, we got to go to Chinatown, food-wise. This is, my home, my second home. My daughter is 24 now. My son's 21. But we literally raised them here. They used to go to Phoenix Restaurant over on Archer since my daughter was 6 weeks old.
That's
So I remember going there. I mean, she grew up, and that's the thing about the noise of the dim sum carts on a weekend morning. And they could fall asleep to that kind of noise.
Right.
So they grew up that was that part of their world. I'll never forget this. My wife and I always tell this story. My daughter was I think pushing 3, maybe 3.5. And she asked us if we were Chinese.
Wow.
That's all she knew.
We're like, what? Why would you ask us that? She's like, well, we're here, but we don't look the same, but we're here a lot, and we're always eating this food. And we're just like, no, we're Jews who like Chinese food. And we're eating a lot of Chinese food. And that's our thing. And so, and they grew up, so this is the side product, the byproduct of that is that my kids grew up eating Asian food and Thai food and
the culture, a little bit more
Eastern
culture.
food.
Yeah.
So you were saying, we talked about earlier, you're game for anything, right? You eat everything. You try anything.
Yeah.
And that's how my kids were since day one.
Yeah,
and they really had to be open to it.
Yeah, that's so dope because they were born like that. Me, I kind of grew into that. You know what I mean? I grew up.
Forced
No, I wasn't forced, but I mean, but it's something that you don't know what you don't know, and I was a product of that. You know what I mean? So I would judge stuff by it looks like me. I don't want to do it. But then you had a podcast. Now I'm like,
gaming.
Yeah, it's gaming. Yeah, let's not get into it. That's a last year thing. But so it's cool to see that she grew up in it, and actually that's another kudos to you, man, because a lot of kids don't have that kind of culture that early, and they don't grow. They grow up in this box, and she really didn't know. Are we Chinese? You know what I mean? To her, to me, we just people. You know what I mean? So that's kids are so innocent, and they don't know.
And that's why we stayed in the city too. Yeah. I mean, we could have moved to the suburbs when went to school. That would have been a lot easier. But I told my wife, I'm not from here. Right. She's from the suburbs. vibes. And I'm like, I really want to stay in the city. Let's try to make it work.
Right.
Yeah.
And we did. And I think my kids are, they benefit
gained
from that.
from
they
it, yeah.
totally gain from that.
Yeah, there's a
and
lot.
Their friends are it's like a multicultural. It's like this
Right.
beautiful quilt in
Yeah.
their world.
Yeah.
So
Which
that's
is like true to what Chicago is.
Yeah.
Like you can't
Absolutely.
escape that diversity.
No,
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You won't escape it.
Right, right.
As long as we around.
And so I wanted to come here to Slurp Slurp because I did a story on this years ago. As you saw walking in, they have the TV still from Channel 7.
Yeah.
But I just love that they make everything from scratch here. The broth is homemade. You tasted the broth.
Yeah,
the noodles you can get hand shaved, which are kind of jagged on the edge, or you can get them hand pulled, which are finer.
Yep.
But there's like soul in this food.
Yeah.
They poured their effort into this, their love into this food. It's delicious. It's inexpensive.
Right.
I like everything about this place, and I wanted you to experience sort of northern Chinese because it's December. There's no snow on the ground when we're doing this interview, but it's cold weather food. It's something you want to sort of warm you up, sort of wrap your blanket in. And I wanted you to bring it here.
Oh, and this is hell of a choice,
Right.
Because if we
It
talk
was really
about,
good.
And you like the dumplings a lot.
oh,
Right.
yeah, we'll get into it.
Let's talk about what we ordered.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
What did you?
We had
order?
pork and chive dumplings that were steamed, and then you guys wanted the fried dumplings to get
Yep.
some
Yes.
little crispiness, which I liked also.
Yes.
I think those were both pork.
Yes.
Yep.
And then you had the stir-fried noodles that were hand-pulled with beef with pork.
Pork
belly.
belly,
Yep.
yep.
And then you had the broth with the beef
Yep.
and
Yep.
the shaved noodles.
Yes.
Correct.
And then I had a soy sauce chicken with the broth and the hand-pulled noodles also, which I just adored. It's just... It's pretty bland, I think, but it needed the chili oil, and we had some chili oil.
Yeah. And you know what? And that wasn't even that bland to me. It was
Ours was. I think the noodle had more.
a little. That's right. We did have a different noodle.
Yeah,
than,
we did have a different
I mean, it was. Look, let me tell you, like that was so good. When you recommend the chili, that set it up to
Right,
another
it
level.
does.
But by itself, somebody I've never had anything that authentic. You know what I'm saying?
right.
And that was really good. Like. Aside from me not being able to work chopsticks,
That's okay.
Yeah. It's called Slurp Slurp for a reason. I like how Steve Saul was struggling. Was like, hey, don't worry about it. Just call
go
Slurp
in.
Slurp.
Yeah, just dig in. Get your face in there.
As soon as he said that, my mustache was all messed up.
Should we have asked for forks?
We probably, you know what? I'm not no punk though.
Okay.
I go
All
with
right.
it.
Good
I
man.
try anything.
Good for you.
But it was fantastic.
Good.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah. The dumplings are.
Let's talk about them dumplings.
And they're handmade dumplings, right?
Handmade.
You can see the actual
Fingerprint.
pleating. You can see that they pressed it together. It's not made from a machine.
Yeah.
It's not perfectly shaped. It's not
Yeah.
symmetrical.
Yeah.
I want that rusticity.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what was that word?
Rusticity.
Wow. So let's get. I'm
Thank
using
you.
it all day next week, every week.
It could be a drinking game.
Yes.
Every time you hear rusticity, you get a shot of Malort. How Chicago is that?
Oh my Lord, no.
Oh, I know. Sorry.
My Lord, me and that we go way back, but
Not good.
But no, those dumplings, like you said, were fantastic. I mean, they were like the steam one, and like normally, like the steam got the different texture. Obviously, it's not fried, but I popped those like easy.
Yeah, because it's the chive.
Yes.
The chive and the
Right.
pork is a great combination.
Yeah,
There's a
okay.
reason those combos go so well together. We also asked for the pork with the cabbage,
Yes.
which they were out of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which was
Yeah.
kind of annoying. But I can understand. I mean, everybody's running out of
it's
everything
busy,
these
yeah.
days. But the pork and cabbage next time you come would be worth trying.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, pork and chive is a great
Yeah.
combo.
I never even knew.
Yeah, and there's a great place. Another place we could have gone is QXY, which I think stands for King Xing Ying.
Okay.
It's around the corner here. I can point it out when we go outside. It's next to it's called the Richland Mall.
Okay.
And they just do dumplings.
Okay.
wow.
So you can get steamed, you can get
I love
deep
dumplings.
fried, you can get pan fried, all kinds of dumplings.
Yeah, these are all foods that, mind you, I've always been like a person that's interested in food. I was like the only grandchild allowed into the kitchen with my grandma. So I watched her cook for me. These are foods that I did not have growing up. Like we don't, although Jordan is technically in Asia, we don't have an East or Southeast, we don't have an East Asian influence at all in our food. It's really hard to, maybe now, but when I was growing up in the 90s, not a thing.
Yeah.
I want to go back to what did you have to do to be the only child let into the kitchen with grandma?
I really don't know. I got to spend the night all the time.
Grandma
You're
had
a really good kid.
I was like the kid that was like reading books and doing puzzles. So I was like not a troubling kid.
Yeah.
I'm the oldest of three, so I was pretty, mature for
Grandma,
my
love you.
age.
And so getting to be in the kitchen was kind of an honor.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
she made everything from she made all the pickles from scratch, all of the olive and the brines, like all of that stuff. I watched her do it from since I was like 2 or 3. I would just be with her in the kitchen all the time. She made lebanais from scratch. She made cheeses and stuff.
Beautiful.
So.
Yeah.
And I had a question for you guys. What Armour Square, the neighborhood we're in, I'm assuming it's from Armour, the packer that was at the Union Stockyards, because that's where Swift and Armour started their businesses in the 1800s.
Yeah. So the history portion, y'all go back and rewind a little bit. But yeah, so the history of this is really cool. It's for those that don't know what Armour Square is in the neighborhood visually, it's like a sliver in the middle of the city. And this was kind of the place where they started the people from the rebuild of the Chicago fire came to. So, for example, this wasn't affected by the Chicago fire. It just missed it. But when they started to rebuild, and they call it the brick area, all the bricks the whole city, it was a law. You had to be made of brick or some kind of stone. So all the work, people moved. It was too expensive now because buildings and homes and things are made of brick now. Oh. So people moved out, were forced out, so to say, to Armour Square. But Armour Square, they start raising the tracks, the train tracks up. So east and west were cut down. It's like imagine taking a slicer and just slicing off edges of the neighborhood.
Interesting.
Yeah. So people came here to kind of we didn't have no place to go. So and you're right. The rail yards are to the west, and then to the east you got the Rhine. So you really have nowhere you have nowhere to go. So yes, this was built kind of. Named because of that,
And the Chinese population probably came in the 1920s, I'm guessing, or 1930s.
Yeah, look at this. Look at this.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
look at this.
We're here all weekend, folks.
It's really cool how the story of this place started, and it's got a deep, sad history, I want to say, and I say that because they were discriminated on. They discriminated on the Transcontinental Railroad when that was finished, the first Transcontinental Railroad when that was done. The West San Francisco had kind of discriminated against the Chinese population. What they did was, not by discrimination, they forced to raise prices up. For example, if you did your laundry, had your laundry carried by carriage, they raised the tax on that. And that's what a lot of Chinese folks did to kind of live and survive. So you couldn't afford that anymore. And in the Transcontinental Railroad, 90% of the people that worked on the Transcontinental Railroad were Chinese. So when you imagine forcing all those people out, and they did. They had nowhere to go. Chicago in the 1893, right after the World's Fair, Chicago took in a lot of those people and a lot of the Chinese population, and we started the boom. And so then, and I'm rehashing all this people. If you just listen to it, I'm talking about it again. But, a lot of the Chinese population said, hey, we found a home here in Chicago. Come on over. Yeah. And that's kind of like how this started. And this is not even the original Chinatown. This is the second version of Chinatown because it used to be closer to the Loop.
Yes, and that's where Monica Ng's family had a restaurant.
Yeah.
Monica was at the Tribune. She was at WBEZ, and now she's at Axios. She proudly says she's like a fourth-generation Chicagoan, which is so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I know Castle, the Chinese American Service League, has done a great job down here.
Yes. Yeah.
Speaking of the World's Fair, do you believe in
mermaids?
mermaids?
Oh my goodness!
Steve?
Are we in roommates?
Mermaids. Yeah. What are your thoughts on mermaids?
Bruh. I think of Daryl Hannah in the movie Splash.
Not real. Basically.
You don't think mermaids are real?
I don't.
You don't?
Thank you.
You're positive. You're
my
sure
goodness.
that they're not real.
I'm positive.
100.
Old sailor's tale from. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, clearly Dario's controlling the sound effects.
Thank you. This is how we start 2022 off, y'all. This is how we started out.
Truth and science.
Yes. Dario 1, Sarah 0.
Right. Well, we still got like 60 something. No, we have
48.
40. Yeah. 48.
But yeah, so thank you. Thanks for not playing that game with us. The mermaids are not real. This has been like a literal month and a half long conversation we have every podcast.
I'm trying to prove my point that you can't say something is completely not.
Yes, you can.
I'm not saying it exists. I'm just saying you can't eliminate the idea of it existing.
It's not real.
Okay.
All
right. He said, "Thank you. That's the perfect answer." He's like, "Right." See,
I'm gonna just leave it there.
Steve, man, this has been fun. Well, I mean, I guess overall, let's wrap up the Slurp Slurp. Mm-hmm. Look, for anybody that's kind of on the edge, and this is like authentic Chinese food, not that stuff you gonna order, from and get it delivered. It's not that, you know what I'm saying? So this is like authentic stuff, and food came out expeditiously. I mean,
incredibly fast.
Incredibly fast.
I was like, what the hell?
Dude,
Yeah.
I had no clue.
Yeah.
I was like, we were
I
still
imagine
eating
like a
dumplings.
huge pot of broth that's sitting in the bag.
They have the broth back there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They probably
And you
they're
just
making the
add
noodles
stuff,
all day,
right?
so there's always fresh noodles,
Yeah.
and there's good turnover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we walked in, it was packed,
It
As
was.
hell.
and then there was this lull, and now
Yeah.
it's maybe a third full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're right; it's fast.
Yeah.
Super fast.
I wouldn't get this food to go. I mean, they're going to pack it separate from the broth.
Yes.
When we had our leftovers packed up, you want to have the ingredients packed separate from the broth. Otherwise, it's going to get it really soggy.
Yes, yeah. And
Who would have thunk it?
I would have never. I would have just put that shit in the box.
No, you'll be happy tomorrow.
Thank you. I would say for those that don't really understand what real authentic Chinese food is, and like somebody with me, like a palate like Sarah, always love to talk shit about, come here because like this food is fantastic. It's flavorful. You know what I
Yep.
mean? It's different, but the same. You know what I'm saying? Like you might look at pork belly and be like, I'm not eating that like I normally would, but it's fantastic.
Now you say that, but do you know you've ever had bacon?
Yeah.
Oh yes,
literally-
that's exactly.
Bacon is
There you
pork
go.
belly.
There
It's
you
just
go.
sliced
This is
differently.
just like thicker.
Yeah, it's thicker. It's
Yes.
just but bacon
Yes.
is from pork belly. So,
And this food was fantastic.
something I learned early in my food career. Oh my God, pork belly, that's bacon.
Yes.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
See, that's the way people need to think. You know what I mean? Like that was my way of thinking. I was like, I wouldn't eat it, but you're like, do you eat bacon? Yes, I do.
That's what we talk about very frequently. Is like you might go to a place that you've never been to before, a cuisine that you've never had, but you always find ingredients that you're familiar with on the menu. They're just arranged differently.
Yeah,
They just look a little different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
don't knock it till you try it.
And I got to say one other plug because we are
Yeah,
in
go
Chinatown.
ahead.
I mean, a couple other places
Yeah.
that are worth
For
looking
sure.
into.
Yeah, let us know.
Bingo Tea
Okay.
is a great place for
I saw that.
bubble teas.
Yeah.
They do the cream cheese tea, which is like a cream cheese they pour on the top of it, which is kind of interesting.
That's
I bet
Kind of
that's-
in liquid form.
Yeah.
Ken Key is a great place for Cantonese food, for big bowls of soup with noodles and seafood. I was just there last week, actually. Ming Hin would be a good place for dim sum. Come on the
Okay.
weekends and have a dim sum cart.
Yep.
There's so much over here. And even on Wentworth here, this across the street, this Oriental Tea,
Yeah.
just like a nice tea house.
Yeah.
You know, you can,
Wow.
there's so much in this neighborhood. It's just worth coming down here to explore.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's so important to
For
support
sure.
these small businesses for
Absolutely,
sure.
man. That's
100%.
one hell of a plug. That's
Yeah.
right. That's everything we stand
Yeah.
for here.
Yeah.
Man,
That was really good.
that was really good.
That was really good.
We'll come back and close it out later. But Steve, thank you
so much.
Thank
I
you
mean-
too. Oh, this was my pleasure. It's such a
Yeah.
fun. It's just a great hanging out with you guys.
Oh my
So
goodness.
surreal.
And
Yeah.
good luck with the podcast.
Thank
it really,
you.
I like what you're doing for the city.
Thank you so much. One more time, tell them where they can find you, where they can
Watch you,
watch
follow
you
you.
and everything.
Easiest thing is really, stevedolinsky.com is my
Okay.
website, but NBC on Thursday nights at 10.
Okay.
Perfect.
There you go. Y'all, make sure you pay your cable bill.
Wait, one more thing also, Pizza City USA, pizzacityusa.com. We do our tours. We start back in May. We do weekly tour business. And you can order the book there too, Pizza City USA.
There you go. Y'all,
Perfect.
make sure y'all follow him, man. Thank you again.
Thank you, guys.
We'll
Cheers.
be right back, y'all.
Yo, it's your boy TJ Stokes. Make sure you go check out my new single, Love Me More, on all streaming platforms.
It's so new to you. I wish I had been new you, world. I wish I been new you. I think I might be kin to you, world. I might be kin to you.
I feel like that was such a good conversation.
It was fantastic.
Still surreal. I know I've said that so many
Yep.
times, but it just does not feel real.
Yeah. I can't believe
Such a dope person.
Super dope. Just
Like,
cool, normal.
Just the fact that he responded to our email blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, Steve.
Yeah, and those accolades, trust me, we about to be playing these sound bites for the rest of 2022.
You guys are gonna hear it every single time.
Yeah, anytime we have self-doubt, this is the greatest podcast ever. That's all you're going to hear.
Yeah.
No. I'm going to edit some words in there, but
But yeah, that was great. I love the history portion. The food portion was dope. It sounds a little different than our what
normal
you're used
flow.
to,
Yeah.
but
hey,
you know.
Hey, first one of the year, we can do what we want to do.
Yeah, it's also our podcast. So if you, you know, if you just don't like it, that's also fine.
You can dip out. But I can't wait for the rest of this year. We got some dope
I'm
guests.
so excited. We have some really cool projects.
Yeah.
Some really cool guests. Clearly, we're going to be VIP attendees
Hey,
at the
talk that
Pizza
talk.
Festival.
Yep.
Per Steve.
We're going to be there. We're going to be there.
So yeah, I mean, thank you so much for listening for the first 7 months or 7 months of this podcast. We've had such a great time. We're so happy to be here, episode 1 of the new year. Y'all be blessed.
Hey, be blessed.
If you like this episode, send it to someone you like. If you hate this episode, go ahead, send it to someone you hate. Just make their day better. Be a better person.
That's all.
Be a better version of yourself.
That's all we
share
ask.
this episode.
That's all we ask.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you.
We'll
you
see
got
you next
anything
week.
else?
I know. That's it.
See you
we
next
out.
Monday.
We'll see you next Monday. Holla at your boy and girl. Peace.
What?
I don't know. Whatever.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of 77 Flavors of Chicago. We look forward to having you again next Monday. So make sure you look out for us on any platform where you can listen to a podcast. Make sure you rate, subscribe, and do all the things. And we'll see you next Monday.